Good morning, students. Today we are coming to the last topic of the series, our syllabus, that is solids and semiconductor devices. Actually, solids is not marked, solids and semiconductor devices. See, on the basis of electrical conductivity, the whole materials that we come across are divided into three categories. They are conductors, insulators, and semiconductors, right? That means that is on the basis of electrical conductivity. Electrical conductivity is denoted by the letter sigma, or electrical resistivity, rho is equal to 1 by sigma. Solids are classified into three categories. They are conductors, insulators, and three insulators, semiconductors, right? This is a broad topic, and we will discuss in detail on the basis of this band theory of solids. How can we categorize these three materials: conductors, insulators, and semiconductors? This is band theory of solids we are discussing now. First of all, we will discuss band energy. What is band energy? The range of energies possessed by electrons in solids is known as energy band or band energy, right? Energy possessed by electrons in their orbits are called band energies, right? Or energy band. Electrical properties of solids can be explained on the basis of band energy, right? Okay. Here this figure shows an atom, a single atom which is isolated. This is a nucleus, and these are the orbits marked here. In every orbit, electrons are there. Electrons, electrons can exist only in energy conditions. Without energy, electrons cannot exist. So this is first orbit, this is second orbit, this is third orbit and all, right? When an atom is well isolated, that means when an atom is separately picked up from a crystal and kept anywhere, and that is called an isolated atom. In an isolated atom, every orbit electrons are there. Every electron has a single energy value, a single energy condition in which all the electrons in the first orbit will remain. Same is the case with electrons in second orbit also. All the electrons of every orbit will have a single energy in this condition. What is the condition? The atom is kept isolated away from a crystal. That means we are plucking out of an atom and kept it separately. Then every electron in every orbit has a single energy condition. That the energy possessed by first orbit electrons is called first energy or first energy level. Energy possessed by the second orbit is at a distance r2 from the center, and third, that means this r3 means the radius of the electrons in the third orbit, and so on. The energy possessed by electrons in the first orbit is called first energy level. Energy possessed by the electrons in the second orbit is called second energy level, and energy possessed by the electrons in the third orbit is called third energy level. They are single energy levels because the atom is well isolated. It is singly separated from a crystal. Every electron in every orbit has single energy values. But the scenario changes very drastically different when the atom is kept inside a crystal. When an atom is kept inside a crystal, every electron in every orbit will be in a different energy, in a different charge environment. That means when in the neighborhood, when there are so many charges or so many atoms, then due to electrostatic interaction, electrons cannot remain in the single energy level. Am I correct? So this is the condition. When an atom is isolated, from the band, isolated from a solid, each electron in every orbit can have a single energy. The energy possessed by the first orbit electrons called first energy level, and the electrons present in the second orbit has second energy level, and so on. But when the atom is considered in a solid, then electrons in orbits will avail a range of energies. This range of energies possessed by an electron is called band energy. Is called band energy. The range of energies possessed by first orbit electrons are called first band energy. The various values of energies possessed by electrons in the second orbit are called second band energy, and the energy possessed by the electrons in the third orbit are called third band energy, and so on. They are range of energies. Why that is happening? It is very easy to understand. Because suppose we take the first orbit. In the first orbit, suppose there are two electrons there. And these two electrons are in two different charge environment. No two electron in any orbit can have same charge environmental conditions. So one electron at a particular position in the same orbit will have one particular energy condition, and the other electron in the same orbit can have some other energy conditions. So considering all the electrons of the same orbit, we will say that the electrons in a particular orbit can have a range of energies. One have a particular value of energy, the other have another value of energy, third one have a third value of energy, and so on. That is why we say that in any orbit, electrons will have different values of energy, and consolidating all this, we will say that electrons in every orbit has a range of energies. This range of energies possessed by an electron in an orbit is called band energy. In that way, the energy possessed by electrons in the first orbit is called first band energy. The energies possessed by the second orbit is called second band energy, and the energy possessed by the third orbit electron is called third band energy, etc., etc. And the energy possessed by the last orbit, what is called valence orbit electron, is called valence band energy, and so on, right? So this is what energy is called valence band energy, and so on. The important energy bands in solids, actually solids it is not marked here, it is solids, we are right. The important energy bands in solids, right, are three. They are, first is valence band energy. So we will consider, that means when we compare different materials, just like conductors, insulators, and semiconductors, we have to consider at least three important energy bands. One is called valence band, the other is called conduction band, other is called forbidden band energy. We will start with valence band only. What is valence band energy? Valence band energy is the range of energies possessed by electrons present in the valence band. Valence means the last orbit of an atom, right? Next is conduction band. Conduction band energy is the energy possessed by free electrons. For example, metals. Metals metal means conductors due to environmental conditions, that means due to temperature, increase of temperature, etc. Sometimes electrons of the valence band can jump out of it, but will remain in the material only, but they can move to and fro inside the material. Such electrons are called conduction electrons. Conduction electrons have a range of energies possessed by it, and that is what is called conduction band energy. Actually, the meaning of conduction band energy is the range of energies possessed by free electrons in a crystal, because metal is also crystal only. So that is what is called conduction band. Then forbidden band energy. Forbidden band energy means the valence band energy and conduction band energy may be separated by an energy gap. That is what is called forbidden gap, right? So valence band electrons, to reach conduction band, we have to give some extra energy. In some materials, due to environmental conditions, surrounding conditions of temperature, when temperature increases, the electrons of the outermost orbit will get extra energy. They can jump, and if they can overcome the energy gap, then they will be able to reach the conduction band. That means the electrons of the valence band can reach the conduction band if they get sufficient energy so that they can overcome the energy gap, what you call forbidden band. And in that case, if any material that can do so, that means electrons when get extra energy can easily jump into the conduction band. They are good conductors of electric current. Those substances cannot do that. They will remain either insulators or semiconductors. This is the category. This is the categorization. So the range of energy is possessed by electrons in the valence band is called valence band energy. That in the conduction electrons, about conduction electrons already I said, conduction electrons are free electrons have a different range of energy, what is called conduction band energy, right? The valence band energy and conduction band energy may be separated by an energy gap. By an energy gap is called forbidden band energy. So forbidden band energy is also measured in terms of electron volt, right? Insulators are solids having a large energy gap. That means between valence band energy and conduction band energy, a large gap is there. If an insulator is taken, insulator can be converted into a conductor if we give an energy which is greater than 15 electron volt energy, then the electrons of the valence band can reach the conduction band and the insulator can behave like a conductor. But it is very difficult because we have to give a large amount of energy. That is why an insulator is remaining as an insulator at normal conditions. Due to these characteristics, the valence band is fully filled in an insulator with the electrons, but its conduction band is empty. In the case of a metal or a conductor, in the case of an insulator, just like a rubber, plastic, etc., their valence band will be fully filled, but their conduction band will be totally empty. That is why insulators are not able to conduct electric current, because the energy gap is very, very high. Am I correct? Large amount of energy is required to overcome the energy gap to reach the conduction band. So this is something is given. This is an energy band diagram of an insulator is shown here. This is the conduction band and this is the valence band. And the energy gap is 15 electron volt. 15 electron. You will always see that the valence band is of the width is very less and the conduction band is of large width, because the conduction band valence band and the conduction band, when we compare, the energy range of conduction band is very, very high, because that electron will be interacted with so many free electrons or so many atoms outside. Therefore, the range of energy that is available to the free electrons will be very, very large. That is why the width is more. And here also the width is, as compared to this one, it is less. If you go to the first band and the second band and third band, then the width goes on increasing, and the valence band becomes large. Valence band electrons are having more and more band energy as compared to the electrons in the interior orbits. But the conduction band electrons will have more than those energy. A range of energy is possessed for conduction band electron is more than the valence band, third band, fourth band, etc., etc. Right? So energy band diagram for insulator is marked here. You will see that this energy gap is equal to 15 electron, which is very, very high. In the case of conductors, valence band and conduction band are overlapped. So conductors can conduct electric current even at the normal temperature also. Why? Because their conduction band and their valence band both are overlapped. Therefore, even in the normal temperature also, even a temperature less than normal temperature means normal temperature and pressure, right? That means in the normal conditions, the temperature of the room temperature will be about 26 or 27 degrees centigrade. Even less than that also, the electrons of the valence band can easily be admitted to the conduction band. That is why at all temperatures, the conductors are showing conductivity, right? So that can be easily admitted. That means the electrons of the valence band can easily admitted. Even at a very low temperature also, electron can easily reach that they can become free and can become conduction band electrons, and conductivity can be carried out easily in those materials. Such materials are called conductors, right? That is why conductors are having a large value of electron density. Electron density of conductors are very high because very easily the electrons of the valence band can reach the conduction band. This diagram shows that only. See, this is valence band is up to this much and the conduction band is up to this much. Where this area, this middle portion, you will see conduction band and valence band both are overlapping. That means electrons of the valence band is same as the electrons of the conduction band. That is why these metals or any conductors are able to conduct electricity even at all temperatures. So, energy band diagram for conductors shown here. This is also important, this diagram. You will draw it neatly looking at your book, right? This diagram, my diagram became a bit dirty, but don't mind that, right? Okay. But when we come to the semiconductors, there is a small energy gap approximately equal to 1 electron volt. Electron volt, that is a unit of energy only. So, this energy band diagram for semiconductors also shown here. This is CB conduction band and this is VB valence band, and between these two energy bands there is a small energy gap. It is about it is approximately equal to 1 electron volt. So, that is why even at room temperature, the number of electrons present in the conduction band is very, very less. When the temperature increases, the electrons in the valence band gets agitated and can jump and overcome this energy gap and can reach the conduction band. That means they can become free. But this many electrons are not sufficient for an electric current conductivity. That is why even at room temperature also a semiconductor is called as a semiconductor only, not as a conductor. That is semiconductors whose conductivity is in a midway between insulators and conductors, right? Even at room temperature some electrons can reach can jump from the valence band and reach the conduction band, overcoming this much this much energy gap, what you call 1 electron volt. That will be very, very less in number. That is why in room temperature, this kind of materials are called semiconductors. They cannot be considered as a conductor, nor they can be considered as an insulator also. That is why they are called semiconductors. In the market, semiconductors are sold in the name germanium and silicon. Elementary semiconductors sold in the market are named as germanium and silicon. So, for germanium, the energy gap is 0.7 electron volt, and for silicon it is 1.1 electron volt. Though the energy gap is more for silicon, but most of the time in electronic industry, silicon is used many times lavishly than the germanium. Due to some genuine reasons, silicon is always used, right? In the ordinary conditions of temperature, only very few electrons can jump into the conduction band and can become free, and can show some conductivity. At 0 Kelvin, a semiconductor is a pure insulator. Why? Because no electron can reach the conduction band. That is why they are behaving like pure insulators. A semiconductor is a pure insulator at 0 Kelvin. When temperature increases, its conductivity increases and resistivity decreases. Why that? Already told you. Then when temperature increases, then the electrons of the valence band gets the vibrating or jumping up and down and can leave the valence band. If they can overcome the gap, energy gap, they can easily reach the conduction band energy level. Then those electrons are available for conductivity. But in a semiconductor at room temperature, that many number of electrons are not sufficient for a satisfactory conductivity. Next I am coming to is intrinsic semiconductors. What are intrinsic semiconductors? A semiconductor crystal of the purest form is called intrinsic semiconductor. For example, in the elementary form, the semiconductors sold in the market, as I told you, germanium and silicon. But the maximum used elementary semiconductor silicon only. That also I told it because of genuine reasons, that will be explained later. Germanium has an energy gap of 0.7 electrons, always remember, and that of silicon is Si, silicon is 1.1 electron volt. At ordinary temperature also, their conductivity is not sufficient. That also already I explained, because the number of electrons are not sufficient for performing conductivity in those materials. That is why they are called semiconductors. Semiconductors have some speciality also. These semiconductors are tetravalent and make covalent bonds with the neighboring atoms in a crystal. That means all the electrons of the valence band are engaged in covalent bonding. Therefore, to bring out electrons as free is very, very difficult, because strong covalent bond with which the crystal is actually made. So, it is very difficult to bring out electrons from the covalent bonding structure. That is why semiconductors are behaving more or less an insulator in the ordinary temperature, right? And hence, free electrons are not available in the crystal in the conduction band. When temperature increases, some covalent bond may break. Temperature increases due to thermal agitation. What you call due to thermal agitation, some covalent bond may break. Only few covalent bond may break, and electrons will come out and will reach the conduction band if the energy is sufficient. The surrounding conditions, temperature increases and sufficient energy, if a few electrons get in the valence band, in the covalent bond will be broken, and they may be able to reach the conduction band. But this number of electrons are not sufficient for a conductivity. Remember, from the position in the valence band, in the covalent bonding structure, an electron leave a place. That is the vacancy of an electron. That place from where an electron left from the covalent bonding is called what do you call? It is called hole. It is called hole. Hole is always in the valence band. Hole is representing a positive charge, because hole can at any time attract a negative charge, right? Hole is the vacancy of an electron. Hole cannot remain as a hole, a vacant place, for a long time, but it will attract another electron from the neighboring atoms, so it will be filled soon. That is why we say that hole is not a permanent empty space, but it is only a vacancy of an electron. It can attract electron, therefore hole represents a positive charge, right? That means in the valence band, also in the covalent bonding, when a covalent bonding is broken and an electron is getting free out of it, that place where electron left out in the covalent bonding structure is called a hole, right? So, in the ordinary conditions, you must understand that the number of holes in the valence band will be equal to the number of electrons in the conduction band, right? Okay, this is the situation. That means that the number of free electrons in the conduction band is same as equal to the number of holes in the valence band. This is the story of what you call semiconductors. Intrinsic semiconductors are purest form of or elementary form of semiconductors used. So, in elementary form of semiconductors used, the number of electrons in the conduction band, that will be exactly same as the number of holes in the valence band. Where do the holes remain? Holes are always in the valence band. Where are the electrons? Electrons are in the conduction band. Am I correct? So, in the case of a semiconductor, the number of electrons are not sufficient. Therefore, conductivity is not so satisfactory. When temperature increases, no doubt, their conductivity can considerably change. So, these are the structure of that. That means the number of electrons, electrons of these places are left, right? So, this I am representing, actually the dot must be here and hole must be here. I am very sorry. This holes will be here and dot must be on the conduction band. That means these are the place from where electrons left out from the valence band. That means breaking the what do you call the covalent bonding. The hole is, that means this whole 0 Mars will be here and the dot Mars will be here. You can change that, right? So this is germanium or silicon. Energy gap is approximately equal to 1 electron. That is also shown here. This is germanium atom structure is shown germanium, 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 germanium. Germanium has, that means basically it has 4 electrons in the outermost orbit. That will be combined with 4 electrons surrounding 4 electrons by sharing electrons, right? A covalent bonding is made, and this is what is called tetravalent covalent bonding of semiconductors. This is for germanium and this is for silicon. This is about this is all about intrinsic semiconductors. So intrinsic semiconductors are nothing but they are a purest form of semiconductors like germanium or silicon. They are of tetravalent. They are always tetravalent. Semiconductors are crystalline. The semiconductors are of crystalline structure. They are formed by covalent. They are formed by covalent bonds. They have a negative coefficient of resistance. This is a very important point to be noted. Negative coefficient of resistance means semiconductors whose temperature when increases, their conductivity increases. Understand? So they have negative coefficient of resistance. That means their resistivity decreases and conductivity increases when temperature increases. Am I correct? Their resistivity is more than that of a conductor and less than that of an insulator. That is why they are called semiconductors. Am I correct? Their temperature when increases, their resistivity increases and, their resistivity decreases and conductivity increases. When a suitable metal, this is very important point to be remembered for a semiconductor. When a suitable metallic impurity is deliberately added, suitable metallic impurity is deliberately added, even at room temperature also they can become conductors. This is a very important point. What I said, last point is very, very important. A suitable metallic impurity is deliberately added with a purest form of semiconductor, what you call intrinsic semiconductor. Their conductivity is considerably increased. So these are the characteristics of semiconductors. This is the topic today about. Tomorrow we'll come with a new chapter, a new topic. Till then, bye bye. Thank you very much.